in like God speak and Godspeed. A.D.H.D. Alright, let's talk about that for a moment. Mentally diseased with an atopic dermatitis being humanity in the New York area that no longer looks like New England. It now looks like somebody threw up all of their merchandising and bad ideas because someone went to college in Generation X, which by itself means it's already demolished. It's going to need extra help. So it's attention deficit. Yeah, no, I got that. The Americans were already harmed by the baby boomers and whatever they were doing. Added to that, baby boomers were just fuel at this point to everything wrong in my part of the world. So now going into a Generation X stance where it's already damaged and I'm already victimized because not enough attention to detail to my breeding season and my ability to get to where I need to be of importance. So now we have an AD, an attention deficit, at American being North American and having a very specific look. And then it's HD. Oh, is that the high definition? As in like those televisions that you all keep insisting and promoting with all of whatever else is lying around and wrong around the world. And here we are at ADHD. Here's how the humans define it, or piecemeal defines it in the local area for contrast and value.
But there's still a lot of misinformation and stigma surrounding the condition. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder affects more than 6 million children and a rapidly growing number of adults in the U.S. A new documentary.
So the antennas are now hyperactive in certain categories that are easily discernible when the correct attention to detail is paid to the stats at Aerocom and Statcom. There's highly specific statistics going up in very specific areas. There's transmigration, there's transaggression, there's all sorts of stuff. At market makers, why is nothing looking like neat and tidy? Who's working the board? How did they get there? On whose administration and executive order? Because someone else is footing the bill. I just don't see it being... I think it's a motivational issue at this point.
The Disruptors aims to educate and reframe how we think about ADHD by sharing the stories of those living with it and their families. It also highlights many high-profile people who have...
Now, what's interesting is it looks like chromosomes.
ADHD. But there's still a lot of misinformation and stigma surrounding the condition. Attention deficit hyperactivity.
There's that.
Activity disorder affects...
There's the fish turned a different way.
Affects more than 6 million...
Here's all the gears of war.
Children and a rapidly growing number of adults in the U.S. A new documentary, The Disruptors, aims to educate and reframe how we think about...
The Disruptors. Now, here's what is so interesting. They say there's like 21 chromosomes. I mean, like, if you go into this, if, like, you care about epigenetics and what's expressed and healthcare at that, like, finite level in order to study it or whatever. I mean, like, it is very, very interesting to me. The symbology is very similar. Let's just say right about here. Looks like an X and Y chromosome, just like articulating at like what kind of a message are we sending? I'm just curious because I've seen it in a textbook once, more than once. I did my homework. So Oh, look, the disruptors. Here we are. So now I'm already having a problem in my breeding season with my alien genetics because we're not from around here. There's this like New England like keepsake like dream of being victorious and I don't know, building and like you guys were so wonderful. You built this wonderful world because your parents and grandparents and like we're just your flowers and it's our garden time to bloom and oh, what a romantic way of thinking that the world actually gives a shit enough to prepare for your arrival. And then you get here and they're like, oh, no, 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 not on this set. No, 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 no. In this set, we poison the air, the water. We already siphoned all the money off. Now we're fighting about that quietly elsewhere. We call ourselves a military complex of issues while we kind of put you all to sleep while we go do our things and don't tell you guys anything. And like we're more important. I got that. And how is this supposed to work? I'm just in like not agreeing to being poisoned daily by the generations before and then arriving to a family that has nothing. So then I can't even get to the gods to go, no, I'm definitely still genetically at epigenetics. I'm still not from around here. There was planning. I'm part of a greater machine elsewhere in cosmics. I know somebody knows about it. Like there's a couple Bible stories and like history was written on it. Like we still exist. We still do come back. We still remember who we were. And it's just not your normal human story. I mean, they've made some Avenger movies, some X-Men, like some franchise, like some Marvel that they really, really liked in the human category and box office. Just not clear why my daily schedule never seems to get fixed.
A.D.H.D by sharing the stories of those living with it and their families. It also highlights many high-profile people who have harnessed their A.D.H.D to great success. Here's a clip.
I spend my every waking moment trying to get outside of my own head because it's a mess in there. It's very busy.
Your brain is always firing. You're firing at 1,000 miles an hour. You're 8 cylinders by 8 cylinders, 24/7, 365.
It is like I'm juggling 20 balls.
Like some of these, though, are like generalizations, and then some are monochromatic, like just their personal journey and connection story for like the how are we wired into the overall system. Just saying.
But I don't remember where they were in the air. I'm just there trying to kind of catch all these balls, and I remember nothing.
Imagine somebody sitting on the keys of the computer. That's what your brain is like. That's ADHD.
It's like endocrine to like endoctrine. How do we receive the messages? Depends on how the biosignature is picking up on like sublingual programming from elsewhere in a subconscious kind of a way. You think they're your normal thoughts, but it really depends on where the neural network in the dark energy field is at the moment. Again, too much? I don't. It's confusing because I don't really see anybody who knows about such things getting my dance card correctly.
Good.
We're joined now by the film's executive producer, Nancy Armstrong, and by Dr. Humaness Diaz, a clinical assistant professor of child and adolescent psychiatry specialist.
Oh, psychology. Humans trying. You're all a mental disease within yourselves, trying to think that you're gonna like overcast and reroute a story like we all get along and like this wasn't purposely planned before we got to this moment in some like how do we take it all down and then like really make it worse. Yeah, this is the descent down and it's horrible. It's purgatorious. Purgator. I hate it. I don't want to take part in it. It was a crime scene when I arrived. Just how I feel. But now I gotta try to get out. Now, how does that scene work? I'm just curious. At Special Task Force Mark, which is the only mark I ever want to make. in, like, copying genetics and really beautiful, handsome profiles. That's what I was built for. I wasn't built for this humanness. And I wasn't built for a crazy donkey row. I'll tell you that right now. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.